Welcome back to A Fine Line Network, where we explore the strange, the secret, and the stories they don't want you to hear. Now, before we dive in, let me make one thing clear. This video is for entertainment purposes only. We're here to ask questions, not make accusations. Tonight, we're peeling back the layers on a conspiracy that has haunted the music industry for decades, one that links the rise of gangster rap to the private prison system. It all starts with a secret meeting in 1991 where a group of powerful music executives allegedly sat in a room and made a deal that would change the course of hip-hop forever. A deal that, if true, wasn't just about music, but about control, incarceration, and profit. So was this meeting real or just another music industry myth? Let's break it down. Remember, there's a fine line between naive and nut job in the world of conspiracies. Let's walk that line together.
What if I told you that the rise of gangster rap wasn't natural? That it wasn't just an evolution of hip-hop culture but a carefully orchestrated effort to manipulate an entire generation? What if I told you that the music we listen to, the shows we watch, and even the food we eat are all designed to shape us in ways we don't even realize? This theory revolves around a secret meeting in 1991, where a select group of music industry executives was allegedly introduced to a disturbing agenda. An agenda designed to use hip-hop as a weapon, not just to influence culture, but to subconsciously program young minds into self-destruction. Let's start with the meeting itself. This wasn't just any ordinary meeting, it was a clandestine gathering shrouded in secrecy and high stakes. According to an anonymous insider, a private, invite-only gathering was held in Los Angeles in 1991. The city, known for its glitz and glamour, was the perfect backdrop for such a covert operation. The attendees? A handful of top-level music executives. These were the gatekeepers of the industry, the ones who could make or break careers with a single decision. The hosts? Not artists, not producers, but people with direct ties to the private prison industry. These were individuals who saw an opportunity to exploit a burgeoning music genre for their own gain. The objective? To reshape hip-hop into a tool that would help fill those prisons for profit. It was a calculated move, one that required meticulous planning and ruthless execution. The strategy was simple. If they could control what people consumed, they could control how people thought. Media has always been a powerful tool, and they intended to wield it like a weapon. At this meeting, executives were allegedly told that private prisons were on the rise and that if they focused their efforts on pushing a certain kind of music, one that glorified violence, drugs, and crime, they could create an endless cycle. This cycle would not only generate massive profits but also ensure a steady stream of inmates. Here's how it works. Step 1. Shift hip-hop away from consciousness and empowerment and toward destruction. The genre that once spoke of struggle and resilience would now glorify self-destruction. Labels would funnel money into artists who pushed negative messages, gang life, materialism, substance abuse. These messages would be amplified through every available channel. The music would glorify impulse over discipline, violence over wisdom, chaos over structure. It was a deliberate attempt to erode the moral fabric of the youth. Step 2. Make it mainstream. The goal was to ensure that this destructive form of hip-hop became the dominant narrative. Use radio, TV, and record sales to make this the dominant form of hip-hop. Saturate the market until there was no escaping it. The more people consume it, the more it becomes a part of the culture. It would seep into every corner of society, influencing behavior and attitudes. Step 3. Reap the benefits. The masterminds behind this plan stood to gain immensely. As more young people buy into this mindset, more will engage in behaviors that land them in prison. It was a vicious cycle, one that fed on the vulnerabilities of the youth. And because private prisons operate on profit, these executives, who also had investments in those same prisons, would double-dip profiting from album sales and from every new inmate who filled their cells. It was a win-win for them, but a devastating loss for society. It sounds like something out of a dystopian movie. A plot so sinister it's hard to believe it could be real. But let's talk about the science behind it. The psychology of influence and control is well documented, and this plan was a masterclass in manipulation. We are the energy we take in. This simple yet profound statement holds the key to understanding how our environment shapes us. Our minds are like sponges, absorbing whatever we repeatedly expose ourselves to, whether we realize it or not. Every image, sound, and word we encounter leaves an imprint on our subconscious. This is called subconscious programming, and it's one of the most powerful forces shaping human behavior. It operates silently beneath our conscious awareness, influencing our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Think about it. If you eat toxic food, your body becomes unhealthy. The same principle applies to the mind. If you surround yourself with negative people, your mood and mindset deteriorate. Their energy seeps into your own, dragging you down. If you watch, listen to, and consume negativity, you start to internalize it. Your subconscious mind begins to accept these negative inputs as the norm. The entertainment industry knows this. They understand the power of repetition and the impact it has on the human psyche. Hollywood, the music industry, and the media all rely on repetition to shape public perception. They craft narratives and repeat them until they become ingrained in our minds. They understand that if you hear something enough times, you'll start to accept it as reality. Take music, for example. The lyrics and beats are designed to be catchy and memorable. Studies have shown that listening to certain types of music can alter brain chemistry. The rhythms and melodies can evoke strong emotional responses. Rhythms, lyrics, and frequencies influence our subconscious mind. They can uplift us or bring us down depending on the content. If all you hear is violence, disrespect, drug culture, and self-destruction, your mind starts to accept those themes as normal. This constant exposure can desensitize you to harmful behaviors. You become what you consume. Just as healthy food nourishes your body, positive content nourishes your mind. And here's where it gets sinister. The deliberate use of negative programming can manipulate and control populations. By pushing gangster rap and destructive themes, these executives weren't just making money off music. They were reprogramming an entire generation. They were shaping attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors on a massive scale. They understood that if they could control what young minds absorbed, they could control future behavior. And the results? In the 1990s, as gangster rap dominated, crime rates in urban areas spiked. The war on drugs and the 1994 crime bill disproportionately targeted Black and Latino communities, filling prisons at unprecedented rates. The recidivism rate, how often released prisoners return to jail, soared to over 70%. Once you're in the system, it's nearly impossible to escape. Coincidence or careful planning? Let's take a look at the private prison industry. Private prisons aren't funded like regular state-run facilities. They operate on contracts and quotas, meaning they need a steady flow of inmates to remain profitable. In fact, some private prison contracts include clauses that require a certain number of beds to be filled at all times, meaning if crime rates drop, they actually lose money. And guess what? Many of these private prison corporations are publicly traded. Their stocks rise when more people are incarcerated. Now ask yourself, who benefits from a culture that glamorizes criminal behavior? The music industry, the prison system, the elites at the top pulling the strings? So what can we do? How can we navigate this complex web of information and influence? The first step is awareness. We need to become conscious of the content we consume daily. If we understand that what we consume shapes us, we can begin to see the subtle ways our thoughts and behaviors are influenced. We can start making conscious choices about what we allow into our minds. This means being selective and critical of the media we engage with. Be mindful of the music you listen to. Music has a powerful impact on our emotions and thoughts. Are the lyrics feeding your soul or poisoning it? Reflect on the messages and themes in the songs you enjoy. Pay attention to what you watch. Movies and TV shows can subtly shape our perceptions and beliefs. Is Hollywood programming you to accept a certain reality? Protect your energy by choosing content that uplifts and educates you. You are what you consume. This applies not just to food but to information and entertainment as well. The human mind is powerful. It can be a tool for growth or a weapon for manipulation. If the elites know they can shape entire generations with subconscious programming, then we must be vigilant. Imagine what happens when we take back control of our own minds. We can break free from the chains of manipulation. The next time you turn on a song, a show, or a movie, ask yourself, is this feeding me, or is this feeding someone else's agenda? Be critical and discerning, because if this 1991 meeting really happened, then for the last 30 years, we've been living in a carefully designed experiment. And we're just now waking up. The realization is both empowering and daunting, but hey, that's just a theory that invites us to question and explore. Remember, there's a fine line between naive and nutjob in the world of conspiracies. It's a delicate balance. Let's walk that line together. Let's stay informed, critical, and open-minded. In a world full of misinformation, let's choose wisely what we consume and protect our minds. Follow me across all social media platforms at Fine Line Network. Like, share, and subscribe for future conspiracies and current events.